And in the words of Maya Angelou, when you learn, teach, and when you get, give. Welcome to Conversations with Verdel Jones. I'm your host, Verdel Jones. I'm dedicated to sharing conversations that inform and enlighten in the hopes that you learn something you may not have known. We are delighted to, for our show today, we have a couple of things that I want to mention before we get started. First, I want to say that we are live at Paradise Studios here at Strong Island Television Network, and I want to thank you all for watching, and make sure you please like and share the show. Share it so others can get this information that we're going to be talking about today. The topic we're talking about is people always say they're living their best lives. We're going to talk about how. Okay, how are they living their best lives? So we have a great show lined up. So before we get started, I want to thank our sponsor, Nancy Vargas Johnson. She's a realtor in the Long Island area, Nassau, Suffolk, and also Queens. So if you're looking to buy or sell a home in the area, she can help you out. She also helps with relocation. So if you're looking to relocate to another state, she can kind of hook you up with that as well. So reach out to Nancy for all your real estate needs. Also, I want to let everybody know that you can get a Conversations with Verdel Jones mug. So be part of the conversation and get your mug today. You can go to my website, verdeljones.com, and you can pick up the mug. So every time you're watching Conversations with Verdel Jones, you can have a cup of coffee, cup of tea, and watch the show with us. The other thing I wanted to let you know about, or I continue to talk about, is our upcoming event, the Write, Rhyme, and Recite Collective. That's on June 8th. All the information there is on the flyer. We have some awesome authors that are going to be participating. We have some awesome students that are going to be participating as well. We have a Poetry Slam scholarship. We have 8 authors that are going to be in attendance. So make sure, you check it out. We're going to have, let me just give you the rundown while we're here. We're going to have Teresa Bryant, Destiny Dwellers. That's the name of her book. Malik Canty, he is a poet and author, and he is our professional poet that's going to be reciting a poem for the event. We have Keisha Christian, and Keisha is a guest today. Healthy Gemz and Holistic Gems, that's her book. We have Shaquan Hoke, the CEO of Beyond a JOB Incorporated. Martine Mayaz. Martine was a guest on Conversations with Verdel Jones, and she also participated in our event last year, and her book is The Faces of Uterine Fibroids, Untold Stories of a Woman's Biggest Secrets. Phoenix Love is going to be back also. She has a book called Black Therapists Rock, a glimpse through the eyes of experts. Her chapter is called The Rebirth Out of the Ashes, and she is going to be back again. I'm so happy Phoenix has decided to join us again. Tracy Wilkins Francis, The Real Life Adventures of JoJo Bean, a children's book series. So we're happy to have a children's book author in attendance as well. And last and surely not least, we have Linda J. Williams. She is actually here today as well, so you're going to get to hear from her. And her book is called Excuse You, The Benefits of Living Courteously. So we are so happy and excited about our event coming up. Make sure you get your tickets. You do not, I promise you, you do not want to miss this event. It is going to be great. And you get lunch too. So what better way to spend a couple hours on Saturday, a few hours on Saturday, listening to great authors, listening to these awesome students, and just networking. We're also, just so everyone knows, we're partnering with the Big Black Book NYC, and that's a directory for business owners. So Beth Brown, she was a guest here on Conversations with Verdel Jones. We're partnering with her, and she's going to be doing professional headshots. So if anybody's interested, you're a business owner and you're interested in getting a headshot and being part of her directory, you can check out that information as well. So we're happy to have her. We have keynote speaker Najee Simmons. He will be there as well. So we just got a lot going on. So let's do a little week in review. I only have a little bit for our week in review. A lot's been going on this week. I've been planning for the Write, Rhyme, and Recite Collective. We are celebrating young poets and highlighting authors. So we've been doing a lot of work with that. We had a great Memorial Day weekend. I actually had 5 days off. not only did I have Monday, but I had the Friday before and the Tuesday after. So I had a nice long break. We got a lot of yard work done. I planted my flowers. They look all nice, and I'm happy it kind of rained, because that rainwater really just gets those plants looking pretty. So I was excited about that. And I also went to Ujama Fest. We talked about Ujama Fest last time. Let me tell you, it was a great event. So many vendors there with great products and great services. Maya called it a little piece of Wakanda in Long Island. So it was just fabulous. It was at the newly renovated Wyandanch train station. We just really enjoyed it. It was a beautiful, beautiful day. The sun was shining bright, and it was just a really nice event. And Black Long Island always does an awesome job putting these events together, and this, without a doubt, was one of the best. So we were really excited about that. Just one more note, I forgot to say, our official photographer for the Write, Rhyme, and Recite Collective is Brandon DJ Be Easy, and he was a guest on the show as well. So I like to have our guests participate in things, and I call on them for a lot of different things that we have going on. So I'm so happy that I'm able to keep up those relationships with individuals that come to Conversations with Verdel Jones. So we're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we are going to have our first guest. So we'll be back in a minute. Yeah. Welcome back to Conversations with Verdel Jones. As you see, we have our first guest here, Miss Keisha Christian. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you for having me.
Coming back to Conversations with Verdel Jones. So I'm really thrilled to have you. Keisha is the author of the Dropping Gemz series. So it's holistic gems, and it's also healthy gems. We are going to be talking about healthy lifestyle and how it relates to allergies. The allergies that individuals have can be very, very severe. So when I saw that this book was about holistic health and how to how to relieve symptoms of allergies holistically, naturally, I was very excited. So I'm happy to have you. So let's get started. So what prompted you to start your own business? Because you do have your own business. It's Keisha's Gemz LLC.
Yes.
So why did you start your business, and why did it have a holistic or healthy type of spin to it? What made you do that?
Well, what made me do that is because I had different health issues I was dealing with. This started back, I would say, about 12 years ago.
Okay.
And I was going to the doctor, and I was going and getting different tests done, and they couldn't find out what was wrong with me. So being that I really had nothing to lose, I decided to go to an herbalist. And from there, from meeting with the herbalist, I noticed that a lot of my symptoms cleared up.
Wow.
And it was and then I started to learn about the relationship between the plants and our bodies, and how plants actually give our bodies information. So from there I continued to study. I studied with botanical experts, botanists, experts. I also studied with master herbalists.
Wow.
I went wildcrafting. That's when you actually go into the forest and you learn about the different plants.
Really? Where did you do that?
And up in the Catskills.
Really?
Yeah, it took a
wow.
while.
That is pretty cool.
Yeah, and then I became a certified herbalist myself.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
So because of your health issues that you were dealing with, and you should go to the doctor. Everybody should go to the doctor.
Yes.
But at the same time, sometimes it's frustrating, because you'll say that you have a certain symptom or whatever, and they have no answer. So it's so interesting how you took a different direction and looked at another way to kind of try to resolve some of the issues that you were having, which is very interesting. And you're also an author. We mentioned we're going to be talking a little bit more about your books. What was the impetus for you to become an author? Why did you decide to share this information with the world?
It was my customers.
Okay.
Because I would give so much information out, and they would say, "Oh, you should write a book." I heard that so much.
A lot, right?
So I decided, I was like, "Oh well, let me write a book." So the first book I decided was a short read.
Right.
It's all about for busy individuals, different things they could do to live a more holistic lifestyle.
Right.
I don't just say healthy, I say holistic.
Holistic.
Because it has to do with the mind, body, and spirit. Everything that I incorporate is mind, body, and spirit. So I'm not just going to talk about diet. I'm going to talk about all aspects.
Right. In your home, I know there's some aspects that you need to be cognizant of in your home that you need to do as well. So it's not just what you put in. Well, you ingest everything.
Exactly, you do.
But it's just not about the food, I guess you eat, right? Yeah. So tell us about your book, Holistic Gemz. What is it about? I know it deals with relieving symptoms of allergies in a holistic or natural way. So what is the book about?
Yeah, so basically what I'm doing is I'm sharing different tips that people could use and things that they could do to have a easier time during the allergy season. And the reason behind me writing this book too is because I've had allergies since I was a child, and I've really suffered. So I don't want people to suffer the way I did.
Exactly. I too have suffered with allergies. I used to get allergy shots when I was a kid.
I did as well.
I mean, like 3 shots each arm every single week, and it was just
I remember
the allergy
that for
doctor,
weeks.
right?
Yeah.
And it seemed like it was a never-ending thing that I would never stop. And when I got older, I did stop, but I still, suffer some. It just depends with symptoms from seasonal allergies. I get breakouts. I went to. I was talking about Ujama Fest, right? So we went to Ujama Fest. We were in the sun all day. I bought a piece of jewelry, like a necklace, and when I put it on for like 5 seconds. I took it off, and my neck was just, a different type of allergy. But I think it was a combination of the sun and whatever was in the necklace, and it just, I was in bad shape. So what are actually, because people are allergic to a lot of different things. What are seasonal allergies? Is there a time of year when it's more prevalent? Because for now, I know the pollen, and that's another thing. I was outside the whole day, so the pollen, I'm sure, got to me. So what are seasonal allergies? What are they actually?
Well, seasonal allergies, the reason why they're called that has to deal with hay fever. So it's around certain times of the year. So it could be in the fall or it could be in the spring. Those are the 2 prevalent times of the year.
Right, okay.
When you have those major changes.
Can you have it in the summer and in the winter also,
yes,
though?
some people have year-long allergies.
Right.
And that could be a combination of many different things.
Right. So I took an allergy test just not that long ago because I think as you get older, what you're allergic to kind of can change. And it was a lot of weeds. I was allergic to like every single weed and every single tree that you could think of. So,
that sounds like me when I went to the allergist as a child.
I thought I was allergic to dogs and cats, but that was like the lowest on the scale, was more of the weeds. And I didn't know that. Like I did not realize how environmental, trees and weeds and things like that can cause these symptoms. So what are some solutions that you have in the book to address these types of symptoms, and what types of symptoms do you actually address in the book? Like what,
Okay, so as far as we're talking about, you could have an ocular allergy, and that's dealing with if you have any inflammation like the eyes, when you tend to get red eyes, itchy eyes. Right. For that, I remember as a teacher, what I used to do was I used to make my students, when they went outside especially during allergy season, when they came in from recess, especially my students I knew who had really bad allergies, I would make them wash their face. So that was to wash the pollen off their face. Another tip
That's a good idea.
Another tip I tell people to do is to also change your clothes. If wash your face. If it's possible, take a shower as soon as you come in, because you want to wash that pollen off for you. Yeah, so you won't continue. So that's one tip I have. House plants. That's another thing, because there's actually a NASA study. Even talking about how certain house plants actually help to cleanse the air, especially if you're an allergy sufferer.
Really?
Yes.
So does it matter how many plants, or does it just, you have to have them like in a room? Or,
yeah, so there are different plants. There are certain plants you could put into your bedroom, you could have in your living room, yes, to help clean the air.
Oh my, and that's in the book?
Yes.
All right, so you guys got to make sure you get this book to get that information.
And I also want to add, in addition to this book, I also have a course coming out related to this book.
Really? And how is that going to work? Is it like an online course, or
it's an online course, actually.
Oh, that's awesome. Because the allergy symptoms can vary. Some are very severe. Some are, not as bad. But when they hit hard. Like they're debilitating in some instances.
So I'm actually telling people how to prepare, because it's something you need to prepare for.
Okay.
You don't wait until until allergy season comes. You need to prepare. So that's something I learned. I prepare my body for it. So I'm preparing from January. So I'm building up my immune system, so when the allergy season hits, I'm not severely affected.
Right. So is it about immunity? Like
Exactly.
It is.
It is.
So it's building up your immune system as well to fight off whatever symptoms you might get from the allergies.
You're building up your immune. So certain foods, even when I mentioned certain herbs that you could actually take, certain spices you could use as well that will help build up your immune system. Turmeric is the big thing now. That's the hot.
It is.
That's the hot herb.
Exactly. It is.
Cayenne pepper, things like that to help clear out your sinuses, especially if you are stuffy. You have stuffiness. So there's certain things that you could use.
Yeah, when I looked, I read through the book, and you did mention the spices and all of that. And as I was reading, even when I was reading Healthy Gemz, some of the spices or the herbs or even the microgreens that you talk about, where can people, and I know you use all of this.
Yes.
And you buy all of the stuff that you need. Where can people get the products or some of the things that you mentioned in the book if they can't find it in ShopRite?
Well, actually,
or should they even go to ShopRite?
Well, you might be able to find some of the things like turmeric.
You can
and
find
cayenne pepper,
pepper.
cayenne pepper, things like that. Certain spices, but different herbs. You could actually get it from herbal shops.
Okay.
There's one herbal shop in particular that I shop at that's in Queens. Give them a shout out. Original Herbal Remedies. Actually, my book is being sold there. Healthy Gemz.
Of course. Good. Nice.
Yes. That's in Queens on Union Hall, right off Jamaica Avenue, near York College. For those of you who live in Queens.
Yep. Okay. So can you get them online? Because say for example, you're not near an herbal shop or whatever. How would people search online for those things?
Oh, there's actually a website that's pretty reputable. Mountain Rose Herbs.
Mountain Rose Herbs.
Yes, mountainroseherbs.com. That's a reputable website, and their prices are pretty reasonable. I'm a little leery of Amazon because I don't know exactly
where they get them from, right?
Yeah, and they
could be anywhere.
And they could change the labels and all that. So I'm a little leery of
Amazon. So get it from so that particular place is more of that's what it is. It's an herbal shop. And
it's an herbal shop. And that's all they mostly sell their herbs and herbal blends and things like that.
So people they can go there, but they also, because they just can't take any kind of herbs.
No.
So what is your suggestion or your recommendation for people who are suffering with allergies, let's say, besides they're going to get your book and they're going to read through the information. What are some other things that they could do? Like you said, you went to herbalists.
Yes.
how do you even begin to find an herbalist and go to a herbalist and what is that process like for people?
Well, actually, in order to find an herbalist, one of the things I did was I went and I looked at chambers of commerce.
Oh,
so
okay.
they actually herbal chambers of commerce.
Okay.
You could actually, cause that's how I found out about the herbal shop that I go to. You could even go to a health food store and ask them. When you go into, they probably know where you could find an herbalist, because they all have a association together. They're connected, so they know different people you could go
that
to.
you can kind of reach out to. So you also have a podcast.
Yes.
Yeah, it's Dropping Gems.
Yes, just dropping.
Just Dropping Gems.
Yes, just dropping gems.
Tell us a little bit about that. I'm congratulations, excited for you about that.
Thank you. Well, this podcast, basically what I'm doing is I'm teaching people through co-hosts and also from guests that come onto the show who are experts in their own respective fields. We come over and we discuss different things and how to live a holistic lifestyle. So it's mind, body, and spirit. So we're talking about all sorts of things. I have authors on there. I had a YouTuber on there.
Okay. Joanne was on the show too, right?
Yes, Joanne was on there. Yeah, Joanne.
Shout out to Joanne. That's great. I love her.
Yes.
That's awesome. So how can people listen to your podcast?
Well, I'm on iTunes.
Oh, okay.
I'm on Google Play. I'm on just about every platform, yes.
And all they have to do is just Google.
All they have to do is
just Dropping Gems, or not Google, but search.
Yeah, well, even if they Google
it,
it will all come up. All the different places. I'm on Stitcher, TuneIn, iTunes, Google Play, all the popular. And I'm also on YouTube. My podcast is also on YouTube as well.
Okay, that's awesome. You also have body care products, which I absolutely love.
Yes.
I got my soaps. They are awesome. They do not break me out, because with that too, I have very sensitive skin, so I can't use everything. So I appreciate that. These soaps. They're perfect. So where can people order any health care, body products or
personal care products? Oh, well, they could go on my website, www.keishagemz.com.
Great. So are there any other, when people read Holistic Gems, what do you want them to take away from it? How do you want this book to help them?
I want them to look at the alternative ways of dealing with their seasonal allergy symptoms, and not only that, how they could use this in other aspects or arenas in their life, because it can be used outside of just your allergies.
Right. You talk about water. We talked about water the last time you were here, and the importance of mixing, infusing water with different fruits or whatever. different things, right?
Yeah.
And I love that. So you guys make sure that you definitely purchase Holistic Gems and Healthy Gems. Very quick, easy reads, and very helpful. Very, very helpful. Keisha is going to be part of our Write, Rhyme, and Recite Collective on June 8th, and I'm so excited to have her. We're going to have a really great time.
Yes,
I
know we are.
So I'm happy that you're participating. So we're going to put up contact information so you can reach out to Keisha to contact her about all the things we mentioned. Keisha is going to be back. We're going to be having another conversation after our next guest. So I want to thank you so much for being a guest again on Conversations with Verdel Jones.
Thank you. It's always a pleasure to be here.
Yeah, it's so nice. You're a regular on Strong Island Television.
Yes.
So we're happy to have you. So we're going to take a break, and we'll be back in a moment.
All right.
Welcome back to Conversations with Verdel Jones. I have my next guest here, Linda J. Williams. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for inviting me.
It's a pleasure to have you. So Linda Williams is the owner of Etiquette and Writing Consultancy, and she is the author of Excuse Me, The Benefits of Living Courteously. And her mission is to make America courteous again. So she's the author of several books.
Yes.
So we're going to be talking about Excuse Me, and I'm sure others will probably relate to our conversation today. So again, thank you so much for being here.
My pleasure.
I want to get started with how long you've been in business. So you have a consultant business.
Yes.
So how long have you been doing this?
I actually started in 1999.
Okay.
And I was doing it part-time while I was working. I started off just doing it on a volunteer basis and loved what I did, realized it was a passion, and obtained certification. And then I just started doing it more and more, and now that I'm retired, I'm doing it full-time. So it's nice.
Doing something you love, right?
Absolutely, yes. There's nothing like it.
Can't wait to do that. I love doing this, but I work full-time as well.
Yes.
And, it's hard to juggle everything.
It is.
So I do look forward to doing this.
Yeah, it's great. I love doing this.
It really is. And my kids are older.
Yes.
So I don't have to worry about they're grown.
Right,
Grownish.
exactly.
So I don't have to worry about them. So what is an etiquette consultant? Because you said you were certified, and I
Yes.
think you're certified in as a etiquette consultant.
Correct.
So what is that?
Okay, so I actually have two certifications.
Okay.
One is a children's etiquette consultant.
Okay.
And then the other one is as an international protocol consultant.
Oh, okay. Oh,
And
interesting.
Basically, simply what that is that I facilitate workshops for children, high school students, college students, organizations on business etiquette, civility, just basic manners and etiquette, dining etiquette, and I also do a lot of customized workshops for people, organizations, companies, whatever it is that they feel they need in the area of courtesy and manners, I can put together a workshop for them.
So, like customer service, for example.
Yes.
That's probably, I would think, a big part of it.
Definitely.
Now, you mentioned the international.
Yes.
So, for example, when you go to another country, there's protocols.
Exactly.
So you teach those things.
Yes.
Oh, that's so
So
cool.
if there was a company or an organization that were sending people to another country, I would actually come in and help them to understand what the culture was in that country, and so that they would be doing things. Yes.
So what is the most interesting, if you could think of the most interesting protocol in a certain country? Like something that's different from what we normally would do.
Right.
Yeah.
Right, yeah. Honestly, I was in Ghana. Last year.
Okay.
And it was just the atmosphere of courtesy that they had there. I mean, you felt so welcome.
Really?
And it was just the way that they carried themselves. It was very interesting. I didn't actually get to do a workshop while I was there, but I did connect with some people and hope to go back and do one. But yeah, it was very interesting just to see that.
Now, do you notice differences in this country, like from state to state? You know, everybody says you go down south, there's Southern hospitality.
Yes.
And New Yorkers are really not that way.
Right.
Do you, as a etiquette expert, do you notice the differences?
I do notice the differences. I absolutely do.
Right.
And it's interesting to see that we can all be from the same country, but have such different views on, you know, appropriate behavior and courtesy. It's just
It's interesting.
yeah, it
really
is.
is.
It is.
It
And
really
even
is.
upstate New York, you find that the mannerisms are more courteous, more kind. You know, and I kind of try to attribute it to the fact that in New York, there's just a lot of people. And because there are so many people, we tend to be oblivious when it comes to our manners and our behavior.
Right, and everything's so fast-paced.
It is.
You know?
Yes.
And my husband and I have this conversation. We talk about New Yorkers and being in New York City. People will give you directions, but they'll give you the directions on the run.
Yeah, it's true.
You know,
it's very true.
They will, but they're
Yes.
not going to be polite about
It's
it.
true. They give you the exact
Very
words.
direct, right?
Yeah, and that's it. And that's it. Yes.
Now, one of the things also that I found so interesting, that you also do church etiquette.
Yes, I do.
So, my daughter Maya and I, we were, you know, I was telling her about you and the church etiquette, and she was really interested, because she said this is something a lot of people don't really talk about often. Yeah. What is an example of church etiquette that you teach individuals?
Okay, so there are many.
Right.
But one of the things that I really try to stress is that when you go into church, you have to remember where it is that you are.
Okay.
You're in a place where it's religious,
right,
where you're supposed to have reverence. And so when you walk in, you're supposed to walk in quietly. You know, it's not like you're walking into the mall or whatever.
Right.
And you can just talk at in your normal voice. You have to be able to have reverence.
Okay.
You have to know when you can move and when you can't.
Right.
You know,
yes.
and depending on the church and the denomination that you're going to, it's different.
Right.
You know, for instance, in a Baptist church, when there is prayer or reading of the Bible, you're not supposed to move.
Right.
You know, and
well, let me ask you this question.
Yes.
I'm sorry to interrupt, but
no, it's okay.
So when scripture is read, are you supposed to stand?
My answer is yes.
Okay.
Because
it varies, right?
It does. It does. And again, some churches you will go to, they do not stand.
They don't, right?
But in reverence, you should.
You should.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. And I remember when I was a little girl, and I grew up in a Baptist church, and I went down the middle, right?
Oh.
And quickly someone told me, nope, you got to go on the sides.
Yes.
But someone told me that when I was a little girl, and that always stuck with me. Sometimes I'm not sure if that's being told to young kids nowadays in church.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Yes,
yeah,
I do.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure that it is either. There are some churches that when you join, they have some kind of like a new members class.
Yeah.
And they will tell you all
Okay.
of those things, because you really can't assume.
No, you can't.
That people know.
Absolutely.
You know,
Absolutely.
you can't.
Absolutely. So when I see someone go up the middle of the church, I'm like, oh.
And a lot of the churches have a rope, so that you can't
really?
go. You cannot go up the middle, but some don't.
Oh, yeah.
So.
Okay, that's interesting. It's just very, very interesting. Like, and the first thing Maya thought was, she was like, is she going to talk about like a prayer cloth? You know how you, like we were wondering, like, what is the etiquette?
No.
But it's things like that. It's protocol.
It's protocol.
Right. Acting accordingly.
Exactly. Exactly.
So in your book, excuse me.
Excuse you.
Excuse you. I'm sorry.
Excuse
Excuse you. You talk about courtesy and manners, civility, etiquette, protocol, and all of that. And they all relate to how people treat one another.
Yes.
Or behavior towards each other. So how do you teach people how to treat others? You know, if that's not innate, how do people learn that?
You know, it can be a learned experience.
Right.
But the important thing is, you have to have a desire.
Yeah.
You have to have a desire to want to be more courteous.
Do people have that desire?
I believe they do.
Okay.
I believe that. I'm not going to say everybody.
Right.
But I am going to say the majority of people want to be courteous. They have a desire to do it. A lot of times what happens with people is we're just consumed.
Yeah.
We're kind of consumed in what we're doing, and we don't pay attention.
Right.
Because it's very easy to be rude.
You
don't have to do anything.
You don't.
You just behave however you behave. But to be courteous takes thought.
Yeah.
Takes practice. You know, you have to work at it.
Right.
So my thing is, we all need to be more conscientious about being courteous.
About it.
Because it has slipped drastically.
It really has. And it's
Yes.
not, to me, it's not a hard thing to do to be nice.
No.
But for some people, the individuals that want to learn this, it's about self-awareness. So do you find that people have this self-awareness that they're not courteous?
You know, I think when I find myself talking about it, or when I'm doing a workshop,
Right.
people realize, because a lot of times people know
Right.
the right thing to do.
Right.
They just don't
They
do
don't
it.
do it.
They don't do it.
Right, right.
And to me, courtesy promotes courtesy. So if you are courteous and you're around people that are courteous, you tend to be more courteous.
Right.
But in the workplace especially, there is a plethora of different personalities. Not all of them courteous.
No.
And so you kind of tend to go with the flow.
Absolutely.
And we forget.
We forget.
Right. Yes.
So how do you deal with that in the workplace? I was thinking, like, how do you correct, and do you see? I would be a little nervous to be around you because you're a courteous person,
don't.
and
Don't do that.
and I'm like, am I being nice? So
Yes, you are.
so how do you correct not so courteous behavior, or how do individuals arm themselves with the ability to, in a polite way, correct some behaviors?
So sometimes I do not correct people.
Right.
Most times I do not correct people. If I know them,
Right.
I will. People that I work with when I was working tended to have the same outlook that you did. Like when they were around me, it was like, but I don't like that. I don't want to intimidate people.
Right.
I just want to make them more aware
right.
of the importance of being courteous. But back to your question about whether or not I correct people, for the most part, I do not.
Right.
I teach, but you can really offend someone, and that is one of the basics of courtesy,
Right.
is that you don't
Not
want to
to
do
offend.
anything that will offend
Right.
someone else.
Right.
So,
right,
I mean,
right.
unless it's something really terrible,
Yeah.
I tend to let it go.
And how do people deal with that in the workplace? So if I work with not so nice people, not so courteous people, and I know that I have to work with these individuals, how can a courteous person arm themselves against
Well,
a not so courteous person?
I will say this to you. Along with your courtesy,
Right.
you have to have your principles and standards that you
Right.
believe in. And I remember sometimes over the years being in situations where people would use profanity
Right.
at work. And I would very nicely say to them, look, I'm not a prude.
Right.
However, my principles say that I do not use profanity, and I would appreciate it if you don't use it around me.
And I bet they didn't.
And they didn't.
Right.
And if they forgot, they would say, "Oh, excuse me."
Right.
So
Exactly.
you have to. It's a lot about principles.
Yeah.
And standing up for what you believe in.
Right.
And then not letting other people make you compromise your principles.
Your principles,
Yes.
exactly.
Yes.
So we are running a little short, but I want to make sure I ask you about the Courageous Courtesy Initiative. What is that? Because you mentioned that in the book as well. So what is that?
That is my mission.
Okay.
Which is to bring back the courtesy that has been lost over the years. And I believe that it's important because look at all the violence that's going on. Look at what happens on the news every day when you talk about, altercations and issues from the top down.
Right.
And I really think it's because we have lost our desire and the need to be courteous.
And it does. It impacts everything. You wouldn't think, something so simple that can be simple anyway would be so impactful in our day to day.
It's
It
true.
really has impact on a lot of
Yes.
different things.
Because it affects how we treat each other.
Right.
And we have to remember that we're not in this world alone.
Right.
We have to live with other people. And so because we have to live with them,
Right.
we should try to live with them in a way that's caring and kind.
Right, absolutely. And it's not only about being rude, because rude is,
No.
it seems like it's so much more. And like you said, it has to be something that you practice.
Exactly. You do. You have to practice it.
You really,
I
really
have
do.
to practice it
Right.
sometimes.
Yeah, you do.
You know, because if you don't, then, you know, things will happen and you will just be rude.
Right.
Not even be rude. You'll just be oblivious.
Right.
Yes.
Exactly. So I enjoyed reading. I got to read a little bit of the book, and I enjoyed it. I love how you bring in scripture into the book as well, because it arms you with some, this you're supposed to be this way.
Yes, exactly.
So I love that. I love that. So where can people purchase your book?
Okay. It is available on Amazon.com. And also, I will be having book signings. I had my book launch 2 weeks ago.
Oh, nice. Congratulations.
Thank you. And so I will be having book signings throughout Long Island for the rest of the summer.
Nice.
If you go on my website or you go on my Facebook page, I will be having updates as to where they will be held.
Nice.
I will be participating in the event on June 8th,
Right,
so
Robin
I'm really
recite.
excited about that. Yes.
We're going to have a great time. I'm so happy you're
Definitely.
participating.
I am so excited.
This information needs to get out, and it's so, and it's in a palatable way.
Yes.
It's not preachy.
No.
To you know.
I'm glad you said that because I did not want to be preachy.
It really isn't.
Yes.
You share stories about you being an only child and how you had to, you know, kind of learn some different behaviors, not being selfish and, you know, all of that. So I really did enjoy, you know, the pieces that I read. So.
And the other thing that I tried to include were things that happened to me.
Right.
Behavior, you know, times where I was not always, you know, the perfect person when it comes to appropriate behavior.
Exactly.
Because I want people to know that I'm struggling with it too.
Exactly.
You know, but we have to work at it.
Right. So I want to thank you, Linda Williams, for being here.
Thank you for having me.
We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to invite Keisha in, and we're going to have a little conversation. So we'll be back in a minute.
Dropping gems from Keisha Christian. She's on a mission, sharing information, knowledge for soul, body and mind. Dropping gems, KeishaGemz.com, KeishaGemz.com.
Welcome back to Conversations with Verdel Jones. We are here with Keisha Christian and Linda Williams. They are both participating in our Write, Rhyme, and Recite Collective on June 8th, and we are excited about that. I wanted to bring them both back just to kind of have a little conversation. I love it when I have, you know, dynamic women in the studio to talk about, you know, what's going on. So one of the things I wanted to talk about was, I don't know if either of you watch Game of Thrones?
No.
Okay, that's all right.
Oh,
But
wow.
You,
I thought I was the only one
that's
that
okay.
didn't.
But you know about it.
I know.
But you know about it,
Yes,
right?
yes.
So there was this big season finale. One of the characters' name is Jon Snow. He's a popular character on the show. His real name is Kit Harington, and he just checked himself into a wellness retreat for alcohol and stress. So they had this big finale. I mean, you know, amazing stuff going on. And he checked himself into, you know, a rehab, basically, a wellness center, because he was stressed out and he suffers from alcoholism. Also, Wendy Williams, you know, she is at a, what is it called, a sober house. So she was living in a sober house, so dealing with issues. So my takeaway with that was you have these individuals who, you know, top-rated talk show, top-rated show, you know, television show that's, I mean, you know, just off the charts, but they still, so they're living their best life, but how? You know, and that was the topic of today's show, because you have people who on the outside appear a certain way, but really what's going on inside, you know, and that deals with health, holistic living, and it deals with being courteous as well, you know. So how can individuals overcome or deal with these types of issues from your expert, you know, backgrounds?
Well, when I think of that, I think of reflecting and going within. So sometimes when you're going to the sober house, you are going within.
Right.
Sometimes you're living on the go so much, and all these things are happening, and people's like, oh, great, wow, that's wonderful. But sometimes you don't have time for self-care and taking time for you.
Yes, exactly. That's true. That's very true. You know, it's that reflection. You know. A good friend of mine told me to really think about, you know, as I'm embarking on, you know, doing more and more with the show and events and things like that, what do you really, really want? And sometimes you have to sit back and think about it.
And I think the other thing too is that you have to be true to yourself. You have to know yourself.
Right.
And you have to be able to know when you need to take time aside just for you. Because as you said, we're doing so much, you know, we're so busy, and we don't think about ourselves as individuals. We think about what we're doing.
Yeah.
And so we have to stop and say, do I really want to do this?
Right.
Is this really what I want to do? And
Right.
if it's not, you know, sometimes we get so far into a career or something that it's like, it's been too long, I can't back out of this. You can always back out. Especially if you feel like it is affecting who you are as a person.
That's even your health.
Yes, exactly.
And that is so difficult to do.
it
It
is.
really, really is. You know, I think of, you know, I've been a teacher for an educator, you know, teacher, counselor, director for, you know, for a number of years. And, you know, some days I'm like, why am I doing this? But at the same time, I'm like, I can't leave. You know, sometimes you get trapped. So I'm trapped because of a pension.
Yes.
You know.
Yes.
But people have choices.
Yeah.
You know, so how do you make those leaps of faith? Both of you are business owners. How do you make that leap of faith?
Well, you have to, well, going back to what Linda said, you really need to pay attention to yourself. And while she said that, I was even thinking paying attention to your body.
Yes.
You know,
Right.
really,
Yes.
we tend to ignore that
So true.
until something happens, and then our whole world falls apart. Instead of listening to those little pranks,
true.
you know, we don't listen to
It
it.
is so
we don't.
true.
We don't listen. So we need to really check in. Sometimes I'm not saying, you know, you might not be able to spend, you know, and able to go on long trips or vacations, and people are thinking that it could be like a day. It could be getting up a little earlier in the morning and spending that 10 minutes, you know, reflecting, meditating.
That's
Which I actually talk about in my book, meditation.
Meditation, right. And it's just connecting to self. And I think what you said, you know, we don't do that.
Yes.
You know, even with being courteous.
Right.
That,
true.
you know, you don't know who you are, or you don't take the time to just sit in who you are. And how can you give to someone else when you don't do that for yourself,
Yes.
you know?
And going back to what you said before, Verdel, about, you know, being in a job or a career because of a pension.
Yeah.
And it's
Right.
kind of my situation, because when I first started doing the etiquette workshops, I really just wanted to quit my job and do that full time. But I couldn't,
Right.
you know, because I had a career. I was, you know, I had to stay with it. And so I ended up doing both for a number of years.
Right.
But there had to be a balance.
Right.
You know, there had to be a balance between what I did with my career, which had a lot of stress to it, and then doing the etiquette business, which I loved.
Right.
And then at some point, I was able to let go of the one and do the other.
Right.
But it's a balance.
It is.
Yes.
It really is. It's a preparation. Like you were saying, you have to prepare for allergy season.
You have to prepare.
You know, and
Yes.
it's the same kind of thing, you know, just taking, taking time for self. And I think some of it, too, is what people portray. You know, they have to put up this facade.
Yeah, especially with social media.
Oh.
You can't believe half of what you see on social media.
Oh my god! And it goes back to what we were saying. Like people are living their best lives, but how? Like really? Because I know with social media, and I'm grown. I'm going to be 50. This is my 50th year. I'm going to be 50 years old.
Congratulations.
You don't look it at all.
Thank you. I was looking at that.
Oh my goodness.
You look great. Thank you. But social media still has such a big impact.
It does.
You know, do you do anything with etiquette on social media? Like, you know, because that's like
I don't do a lot, and you know I'm a little bit older, so I don't do as much. I have a presence there because I have a business.
Because you have a business, right?
And I do have a blog, so every week, you know, I pick a different topic. Some weeks there are topics about social media, you know, and how we should behave as far as appropriate behavior is concerned. But it's hard to get people to really adhere to that.
Yeah.
Because the people that are on social media, for the most part, don't really want to hear about what's appropriate and what's not.
Right, right.
They do what they feel is good for them.
Yeah. Yeah. Even with kids, because you work with children, and you know we teach children at the high school level, middle school level, you know, that there's a footprint. You know, it's there.
Yes.
It's always going to be there. So you have to be careful about what you do and what you say, what you post, what have you. But like you said, sometimes it's just so it really sets a lot of people up for I'm not going to say failure, but for depression, anxiety. We have so many anxious kids, depressed kids, because of that facade.
Yeah, they want to live up to something that's not even real.
Absolutely, absolutely. And like I said, as a grown adult, I look on Facebook like, why are they on vacation and not me? You know?
I don't. I wonder, did they rent that car? Are they returning that outfit after they finish taking
My
the picture?
goodness.
That's how my mind works. Is that really their bag, or did they borrow it from a friend?
Right.
And see, I'm looking at it and saying, why would they put that out on social media? Why would they tell somebody that? I would never do that. You know, and then when they get a bad reaction from it,
they get mad.
Then they get mad. I don't understand it.
It's such a good thing in certain respects, but it can be such a bad thing in others.
Very
you know,
true.
It really is with a business. You were forced to probably go on social media.
Yes, I was. And my children helped me get there.
I was too, because I wasn't.
You weren't
prior.
on social media? See,
No, I was, but I didn't have
Not like that.
I didn't really have a presence. I like popped in once in a while. Facebook used to email me, "Oh, your friends miss you." I used to get emails.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I remember that.
Wow. Yeah, but as a business, you have to. So sometimes it's hard to, take the noise out of what you see on social media. Sometimes I go on there and I'm doing a post for my business, and next thing you know, I'm going down the rabbit hole. Like I'm looking at this and I'm looking at that, or there's ads, and there's so much stuff that.
It's so true. I get caught up in the ads.
Right, you get
Before
caught
I know it, I'm looking on the, one of the ad infomercials about something, belly fat, or whatever it is. I'm like, oh my gosh, how did I even get here?
We're going to take a quick break. And when we come back, we're gonna wrap up. I want to make sure you get all the information about our guest today. So we're going to be back in just a second.
That's probably my mom.
Welcome back. Thank you so much for watching Conversations with Verdel Jones. I just want to make sure that you get all the information about Keisha Christian and Linda Williams, where you can get their book, how you can contact them. We're going to quickly show their contact information. I want to thank them so much for being a guest on Conversations with Verdel Jones. We're looking forward to the Write, Rhyme, and Recite Collective. Make sure that if you didn't get your tickets to that and you're in the area, make sure you get that, and make sure you check out their contact information. Again, it was a pleasure having you both here on the show. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having us.
Pleasure.
So much fun.
So we will see you next time.